If you've been following tech news even casually over the past few weeks, you've probably noticed that something feels off. PC parts that were affordable just months ago are suddenly expensive. RAM kits are disappearing from shelves. SSD prices are creeping upward again. And devices that were supposed to get cheaper over time are doing the exact opposite. This isn't bad timing, and it's not random. What we're seeing right now is the early stage of what many industry insiders are calling the RAM crisis, and it's shaping up to be one of the most disruptive hardware shortages in years. What makes this situation especially alarming is that it's not limited to a single product or market segment. For the first time in roughly 3 decades, all major memory categories are under pressure at the same time. Consumer DRAM, enterprise DRAM, NAND storage, server memory, and specialized AI memory are all facing shortages or rising demand simultaneously. This isn't just a gamer problem or a PC builder problem. This is a systemic issue that affects almost every modern device we rely on. To understand why this is happening, we need to go back to the fundamentals. Nearly every electronic device today relies on 2 core types of memory: DRAM and NAND. NAND is used for long-term storage. SSDs, smartphones, USB drives, and memory cards all depend on it. DRAM, on the other hand, is what we typically call RAM. It's the fast, temporary memory that PCs, laptops, servers, graphics cards, and even modern processors need in order to function properly. For years, both of these technologies were produced in massive volumes, keeping prices relatively stable. So what changed? The short answer is artificial intelligence. Modern AI systems are not just clever software. They are enormous computational machines that require unprecedented amounts of data to be processed in real time. Training large language models, image generators, and video models requires massive data centers filled with specialized hardware. And at the center of that hardware is memory. Not consumer DDR memory, but a much more advanced and demanding type known as high bandwidth memory, or HBM. HBM is fundamentally different from the RAM you install in a PC. It's stacked vertically, placed extremely close to processors and GPUs, and designed to deliver massive bandwidth at very low latency. This makes it perfect for AI workloads, but also extremely complex and expensive to manufacture. As AI investment exploded, demand for HBM skyrocketed almost overnight. Governments, cloud providers, startups, and tech giants all rushed to secure as much of it as possible. From the perspective of memory manufacturers, this created a clear and brutal incentive. Consumer RAM and SSDs operate on thin margins and unpredictable demand. HBM and enterprise memory, on the other hand, come with long-term contracts, guaranteed volumes, and far higher profits. So companies like Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron began reallocating production capacity. Less consumer DDR, less NAND for retail SSDs, more HBM, more server-grade memory, more AI-focused output. This shift didn't require malicious intent. It's simply how the industry works. Memory fabs have limited capacity, and when demand explodes in one area, something else has to give. Unfortunately, what gave way was the consumer market. As production slowed, supply tightened. As supply tightened, prices began to rise. And once that cycle starts, it feeds on itself. We're already seeing the consequences. RAM prices have increased sharply in a very short time. SSDs with DRAM caches are becoming significantly more expensive than DRAM-less models. PC manufacturers are quietly adjusting prices upward. Server and workstation costs are climbing. Even GPUs are being affected, because graphics cards rely heavily on both DRAM and NAND throughout their production chain. What makes this crisis feel different from previous shortages, like the crypto mining boom, is that consumers are no longer the priority. During earlier supply crunches, manufacturers still viewed gamers and PC builders as a core market worth protecting. Today, that's no longer the case. A single AI data center order can generate more revenue than supplying memory for millions of consumer devices. As a result, innovation on the consumer side has slowed, product diversity has shrunk, and availability has become increasingly unstable. Some companies have even exited the consumer market entirely, choosing to focus exclusively on enterprise and AI customers. This further reduces competition and makes shortages worse. When fewer manufacturers are willing to serve end users, prices become easier to control and harder to bring back down. There's also a larger, more uncomfortable layer to this crisis: geopolitics. Memory chips are no longer just commercial products. They are strategic assets. Nations view AI as a critical factor in economic power, military capability, and global influence. Access to advanced chips and the ability to produce them has become a political issue. Export restrictions, trade bans, and supply chain controls are now common tools in international competition. These tensions add yet another point of failure to an already stressed system. Any political escalation, manufacturing disruption, or logistical delay can instantly worsen shortages. And because memory production is so concentrated in a handful of regions and companies, there's very little redundancy to absorb shocks. So what does the future hold? Unfortunately, no one can give a definitive answer. Some analysts believe the situation could stabilize within 6 to 12 months as production slowly ramps up. Others warn that AI demand is still accelerating and could keep memory markets tight for years. There are even experts who argue that this is not a temporary crisis at all, but the beginning of a new normal where memory is permanently more expensive and more contested. What we do know is that memory sits at the foundation of modern technology. It's in smartphones, laptops, consoles, cars, smart TVs, networking equipment, and household appliances. If memory remains scarce, the cost of all these products will rise with it. Even devices that don't seem memory-heavy are affected indirectly through supply chains. For consumers, this means timing matters more than ever. If you're planning to build or upgrade a PC, waiting doesn't necessarily mean better prices. In fact, it could mean fewer options and higher costs. The second-hand market can help, but it comes with risks. Storage devices, especially SSDs, are difficult to verify and can fail silently. RAM, on the other hand, tends to be more durable and predictable, making it a safer used purchase if sourced carefully. Above all, this crisis highlights a deeper shift in the tech industry. The focus has moved away from everyday users and toward large-scale infrastructure and AI development. Consumer needs are no longer the driving force behind production decisions, and that reality may not change anytime soon. The RAM crisis isn't just about memory prices. It's about who technology is being built for, who benefits first, and who has to wait. The real question now isn't just how long the shortage will last, but what the tech landscape will look like once it's over. And that brings us to the end of this video. Have you been directly affected by the RAM crisis? Don't forget to share your experiences in the comments. I read all of them. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If not, feel free to dislike it. See you in the next video. Goodbye.